Hi, welcome back to Bass Capital Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Lara Wallace, and today I'm here with Miss Nicole Grace with Keep Putnam Beautiful. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Fantastic.
I always love talking to you.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm a lot. I get it. So I have always been a fan of what you do. Right outside of this room are your Keep Putnam Beautiful pickers.
That's right.
And they are definitely something that we use around the block here as my husband takes care of this beautiful building. You can see him there, out there every day with the orange pickers doing his part.
That's right. That's my.
And I think I have a bucket that I have farmed out. There's some hidden downstairs. There's some at home. So you have really enabled me to keep Putnam beautiful, and I appreciate that.
Fantastic. You're my Putnam pickers.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have been in retirement. I need to come back out from that. We tried to do our part. I did pick up some trash down the hallway. So,
You did, and I saw you.
inspired me
I
while
was
you were
there.
here.
I was there. I was there. That was fantastic. And that's really what it's about. I mean, it's about, policing yourself with your own, vicinity and working up from there. Goodness, I'm going to forget who the quote's from, but it says, if you want to change the world, look over your left shoulder.
Oh, that's good.
So
I like that.
it's just
I'll
the
Google
idea of
that.
it.
We'll put it. We'll insert the quote here.
I don't know if I want to say it was, oh gosh, this is going to sound terrible, Mahatma Gandhi or
Maybe.
Mother Teresa.
You could have told me anybody.
They
and
were
I
same
didn't know.
continent. Same continent.
Yeah.
So.
Somebody very important said something very wise.
There you go.
I like it.
That's
Well, I would love to know. Let's start with the basics. So, are you from Putnam County? Are you a lot of people were here since 4, and I consider them from Putnam County. Tell me your story.
well, a lot of people think that I am from Palatka because my parents live here. And they're out about in town quite a bit. But I actually grew up down in Orlando, the north part of Orlando. Okay. And my experience with Palatka for cross country was this is where some intense hills start. I mean, there's the Appalachian Mountains, but as you come up from Orlando in a bus, you cross over that bridge, you make a left, you go up River Street, you go up an amazing hill, which everybody, of course, screamed they were going to die because that bus at that angle is a lot of fun. And then we ran in the ravines. So
now that makes sense.
a lot of this is where hills start. In fact, I mentioned to my husband when we came for a trip, I said, you may have to use the 4x4. And he's like, I don't remember that, but and we were okay. We were definitely okay, but we kind of skipped over Palatka, went up to Jacksonville, and then deliberately moved here to Palatka. So my husband remembers coming up for car shows, and
That's a big thing.
it is, and he was really into into that. So they would come in for a turkey trot, rod run down in Daytona, and up here to Palatka. So there was definitely a draw already. He was familiar with the area. He actually, wise man that he is, didn't correct me about the hills.
Okay.
So
I
have
he
to
is
give
a wise man for that.
he gets credit for that. But when we came here, what we were actually looking at doing, going back and forth was Ravine Gardens is noted if you want to do like elevation change practice for hiking, especially for kids. So we were going to be going up to the mountains with our children, and we're going to do a lot of hiking, and to get them to practice, you can go over to Gainesville, but it's steps. It's all steps. It's all, it's all made
Man-made.
it's man-made going down. But here, there's still the terrain that you can hike. So
I had zero idea about that.
but it is a known thing, and I've talked to other people that bring kids here. They're like, oh yeah, that's this is the place that you can do it here in Florida, mid Florida.
Fun facts about Putnam County I did not know.
Right.
That's great. I wish I had known that. We went to Colorado in the mountains. I have never been. That was the furthest I'd been. I traveled a little bit up the East Coast, but I always wanted to be in the snow. I did not realize how dirty the snow was, but at the time we went snowshoeing because I am accident prone and I shall not be on skis for many reasons. But the going up the hill, I could see now, having been in the ravines, why that would be beneficial, but did not know that like the ravines in Palaca was the spot.
Yeah, it's there, hiking groups, they, that was prior to Facebook. Ouch. But,
We were
hiking
talking about
groups.
MySpace just the other day,
All
so
right, all
don't stress
right.
it.
Well, that is something that's unique to our area, and I know most people are drawn to Ravine Gardens anyway, because it's a state park, and it is really the poster child for some of those WPA projects that we had. We're all about grants, and that was a grant project. That's how
That's
WPA
amazing.
started in that area, and then we just did so awesome at it that they put more money in and said, "Hey, we want to take pictures of this." So
Now, what is WPA?
Works Project Administration. So this is
Okay.
a Great Depression era. A lot of people think of like the CCC, so the Civilian Conservation Corps, and this is kind of the parent program to that. And everybody talks about the bricks that are all around Ravine Gardens. That was their matching funds because it was in-kind matching funds. I thought that was really cool. But
Well, we need a whole other podcast about your ravine knowledge, clearly.
there's a
How
lot
did
out there.
you, what did you go to school for?
Initially, I was looking at, I really like math and science and English, which kind of is across the board. But I was looking at being an accountant, and I did some testing, and they said, oh, well, what about engineering? And so I'm like, I don't like trains. So I looked into that a little bit more because that was the
Okay.
first 7 suggestions. And so that's where I went, was over to UCF, and was in software engineering over there. And that was kind of eye-opening as far as the population in that college at the time, because seeing as how I'm 29.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
And not a day
last
over.
year, last year when I was over there, but you got to see what differences in education, and what is represented there. So out of 75 people in the orientation class that I was in, all sorts of colors, but I was the only female there, and I'm
Get
like,
a girl.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm like, that's not like a real thing, but it kind
It
of is.
was.
So now coming back, my sons are down there, and I see more
Isn't your husband an
women.
engineer too?
He is. That's where I met him. Sorry, that's
So
where I was going with that. That's where I met my husband, was at
I already
College of
knew. See, it
Engineering.
was in your head. So the whole family is about it.
My daughter took a little, like a side
You
thing,
gotta
I
have a
guess.
black sheep, or
Yeah,
I'm
she
not calling her
is.
black sheep. I'm just saying we've all got to have that one. I'm that one.
She's medical. She's in grad school for occupational therapy, and she
Gotta take
pretty
care of your hands from all that
yes.
engineering. See?
And hands was actually what she is specifically interested in,
Oh,
because
okay.
you can look at different things, and she took physics for fun, and then found out, hey, so part of hand specialization, you have to have some physics, and I've got it. So
That
and
worked out.
we did push
That's
her.
probably pretty handy.
Thank you,
Sorry, see
thank
what
you.
I
I
did
do.
there.
I love puns, so that's fantastic.
My husband is rolling his eyes right now. Just so
You can feel that. I like that you have that
yeah,
connection.
absolutely.
But yeah, so we went with, he graduated before I did, and found work up here. So I switched schools over to UF, and I ended up finishing with a BSBA in business administration. Degree with UF, and actually that's where my daughter graduated from as well. So go Gators! My husband's like, yeah, the girls go to Gainesville, and the boys go to Orlando. So we're split. The boys are Knights, and the girls are Gators.
At least you're consistent.
We are. So, but she's now down in Orlando with grad school. So it's kind of like, but she wants to come home. She wants to come
I
home.
can't blame her.
I'm like, come on.
This
come
is
on.
amazing.
It is.
I really love to think of our youth going out and doing their thing and getting that experience and the education, but bring it on home. Bring it back to us.
Right.
Better the community. So it's a great experience, but come back.
I talked to someone else last night just about that, because he said he had gone out, he had been in the Navy, and I'm like, see, and you came back here, and he goes, yeah. He goes, I wanted to go. I'm like, I gotta get out. I gotta go do stuff, and I did, and I got that experience, and I saw, what you're looking for. It's not out there.
Right.
It's with you. So wherever you are, that's where that has to be. And if you're happy with it, so he brought all those great experiences back here, and it was neat talking to him because he does have, unique experiences and a unique perspective because he's from here
Right.
and went out and came back. So I
And
hate,
that's what we need.
yeah, the question where, oh, well, did you mean to come here? Absolutely. My first after we moved to Palatka because we were up in Jacksonville for work and then came back down. My husband's like, "You remember how much you loved Palatka?" And and I did. Although the line at Publix for fried chicken, going to Ravine Gardens was a little bit long. I will say
I think
they've
that's
improved
reasonable.
that.
A very valid complaint.
Yeah, and they're working on that. So
They
I
got
do
that number
appreciate
system going in there.
So but yeah, we ended up. I drove down from a field trip, and we looked at a house, and he's like, "This is it. This is where I want to be." And the longest I've ever been in traffic was when we first moved here. It was 20 minutes, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this! This is Orlando. This is Miami, Atlanta traffic. 20 minutes in front of Walmart." And they started putting up the flags, and it was for the female deputy that had died. It was her funeral procession. So I thought, for that,
Right.
I can have traffic for
Yeah.
that.
Respectfully so.
Every-
Not that traffic
No, it's
has
not good.
not gotten more intense, I guess will be the right word recently, but that's good. That's good.
You see this? This is a little tiny violin.
Yeah, I will tell you now. If anything keeps me in my hometown, it is I hate traffic. I don't know how people live in the big cities. Like, and I get it. Different strokes for different folks, but I'm not that folk, and that is not my stroke. I prefer, even if it's a little backup at the bridge. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, the lack of traffic here. I tell people, I'll tell my cousin, I'm like, yeah, so I was so mad because, light turned red when I was going through it. And she's like, what? You didn't mean it turned red. The traffic was, you were able to go through it. I'm like, no, there's just no traffic. And I'm
Right.
going full speed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, oh, man, and I don't want to get caught. I do not
Watch
want
out
to be.
on the roads for Nicole Grace.
No. Well, Jim Bailey takes pictures, and there is no way I want to be in a Jim Bailey
Oh,
picture unless
okay,
I'm posing.
I appreciate that little tidbit too. I'm learning a lot.
He's fantastic. But we love it here. We love, the lack of traffic. We obviously had already been here for outdoors, and
Did he run cross country too, your husband, or
he did, but we did not cross paths at that time.
no crossing in the cross country?
No, I was, I'm because I'm 29. I'm a little younger than he is. So
Right.
he's like, yeah, I wouldn't have turned my head and looked at you. So I'm
Okay,
like, ha,
good.
that's
I mean,
why.
age is but a number
is.
after 25 or whatever. I guess 18, really. But nonetheless, so you both land here. Obviously, you have your work. You found employment here.
We did. So
So what do
a
you
friend
do
of
here?
mine was actually Keep Putnam Beautiful before me, and there is one person that's Keep Putnam Beautiful, and that's the executive director, whoever that is. And so I'll tell people I'm the new Kristen, although sometimes people will be looking for, because we were organized prior to, I think our official paperwork for Keep Putnam Beautiful as a part of Keep America Beautiful affiliate was put in July 11th, 1991, which was a Friday.
I love you. It just happens to be a Friday.
Yeah,
Fun fact.
it was. But it went through in 1992. So, I mean, we've been here a while. So we've gone through a couple different people. One of the big names was, oddly enough, Jim Townsend.
Okay, that name does sound
so-
familiar.
And we have some, and he's since passed away. We still get Uline catalogs. Uline, stop sending those to us, please.
No, but we recycle them.
We do. But I'd rather just, I'd rather not get them first because I already
Uline's
get another
the
two.
eternal subscription. It does not. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
I'm regifting. We also had Kate Popovic. That was. She was also known. I think she's the one that had the trench coat that had trash attached. Larry Harvey keeps trying to get me to do that again, and I'm like, no.
Larry, I'm on your side. I'll work this angle with you. I
I'll
think that
let,
would be a statement piece.
it was a statement piece, but I do not want to wander around with a black trench coat in Florida weather. I'm not that girl.
There'll be one day in December that you can make that work.
I'll
We've
think on
got
it. I'll
we've
think on
got
it.
what, 7 months to plan.
Yeah,
So
it's a little bit. We were looking at something for Bartram Frolic similar, but I after reviewing the idea, we're like, yeah, no, a ghillie suit with heat, and it was going to be in the 80s. So I'm like, yeah, no, that
we'll work on that.
we'll have to do something
We'll
different.
come up.
We'll
We'll come up with an
recycle.
idea.
We'll still
Yeah.
recycle, and we do, and that's really what we do at the events is recycling, education, and modeling behavior.
So keep America beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I remember hearing that as a also a 29-year-old, a
Right.
young lady, but actually before that. I did not know that there were chapters, I guess, of that. Or is it like, tell me how it works.
So it's like a hierarchy, but it's all just to help each other. So a lot of people think of there was a great marketing piece that they had in the 70s that really drew attention to Keep America Beautiful. 55 Life magazine has this great picture on the front that is all plastics, and it's welcome to the disposable age. And they're just throwing the plastic up in the air. And that's kind of the start of where we have a lot of this litter. Mad Men, I shared it on Facebook if you look back.
We'll
There's
drop a link below.
There's a scene in there where they're having a picnic, and she gets up and it has all the things on the picnic blanket, and they just shake the blanket and then they leave it there. And I'm just amazed that they thought to put that in that series, but it really shows that we are so wealthy and doing so well as a nation that we don't have to, scrimp and save like we were doing back in the Depression era.
The butter dishes that held the spaghetti
Right.
and held the mashed potatoes, held
Exactly.
it all. That's what I remember growing up. You had to lift the lids because
See what
nobody
was in
wrote
it
on
first.
with a Sharpie, right?
Right. So, well, this, that started to be where we had extras of things. And Keep America Beautiful started looking at that as a nation, we started looking at that and saying, well, this isn't right. And you go down our beautiful byways and, Highway 19, everybody knows it as Highway 19, but it's the scenic Black Bear Byway. And it's beautiful. And when you drive down it, it's a powerful sweep of this, our new roads that we have, because you didn't want to travel it in the 17 and 1800s. But you sweep and that's why we have all those motorcycles that ride down it and their big rides and the poker runs, because it's beautiful.
Yes.
And
yes.
it distracts you when you see pieces of litter. In fact, it is linked to mental health as well. When you see those little
Understandably.
breaks in the beauty, it hurts a little bit. So not only is it bad for the environment, it promotes mosquito habitats.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
If that should be the driving factor in at least Putnam County. Nobody likes a mosquito. And thinking about your trash that you just tossed out the window, you're inviting them to come.
Oh, you're
breathe
providing
there.
little nurseries and those little tiny bags, because we had a mosquito habitat abatement grant that we got when we first started. The little bags that are, like a mylar look. It's like potato chip bags. They're shiny.
Yes.
Okay, so those get on the ground out your window, and a lot of times they'll fly out, especially if you have kids. They're not trying to throw things out. The wind catches it, and it comes out of the car. But just a couple of drops of water in there. It's a little pool inside. It's protected from predators because they've got that shine coming up. You can't see the wrigglers inside when those mosquitoes are in there growing. And that's a perfect little habitat. You've made like a little nursery. And they can lay, 300 at a time, the female mosquitoes. And they don't need a lot of water.
That's incentive.
So and we are seeing a return. I know we have Florida is a petri dish of all sorts of things, and mosquitoes are a crazy great vector for diseases. So we're seeing like dengue and Eastern equine encephalitis and stuff that is coming up kind of from the Caribbean. and especially as we're not hitting cooler temperatures to kill off our
You
mosquitoes.
say that twice.
So yeah, so and luckily we also, our county is having these waste tire amnesty days as well, because that's another, little, gosh, it's a little pocket, and we can grow a lot of mosquitoes in there. But I know Jay down at the landfill we had 3 days this year. We had 3 days last year, and they spread them out in spring where you can bring up to 20 tires at a time per resident, and they'll recycle them because we can't just put them in the trash anymore.
Right.
But also, all residents of Putnam County can bring in 5 tires per year, just on your own.
Okay.
Anytime per year. And then when it comes to October 1st, it resets again, and you get 5 more. So,
It's an interesting number, 5 tires. Not 4, not 6, 5 tires.
So 4, because you've got 4, and then you have a spare. So
I knew that.
But if you get your tires changed at like St. John Super Center, or anywhere around town, even Walmart changes tires. You pay a fee when you're there.
A disposal fee, right?
Right. So what you're doing at whatever retail outlet, you're actually not using up those 5 tires. You can still use 5 tires during the year. So go ahead and bring them on in. So, and then it resets, and people don't realize sometimes that our fiscal year resets on October 1st. And
We're going to have fun facts from Nicole Grace
Oh,
after
no.
this video.
Sorry.
So the Keep Putnam, or the Keep America Beautiful, has these little subsets to help further the cause.
Exactly.
And so Keep Putnam Beautiful was founded in
One of those.
1991. And was it just one person, or was it a group? Do you
So
know
we
that
have
kind of
we have a
information?
board. So, and we came out of a beautification committee that kind of shifted over and became a nonprofit. So, and our incorporation date is 92. We filled out the paperwork in 91, but we actually got the word back in 92.
Okay.
But we have a board, and the number shifts, and sometimes we'll have people that used to be on the board leave and then come back later. So if you haven't been on the board in a while, you want to come back, let me know.
Open invitation.
And those are people in the community that can help in different ways. So they're advocates for me, and really, I hate to throw this out there, but I have the best board ever.
You can throw that out there.
I do. I really
freedom
do.
of speech, girl.
I know we've got a lot of great organizations in Putnam County. I'm always
Absolutely.
astounded, but my board is amazing. They are so supportive in ideas, and we're doing flags on Wednesday with and it's because of one of my board members, mentioned something. Hey, we've got this. Let's do this, and it all falls together. So I'm really lucky with that. But that's what we have is we have one executive director, and then we have a board of directors that is there to assist the mission. And we have those all
It's your
around.
posse.
Yeah, it is. Oh, and I'm right. I need to get some horses. I was looking at golf carts, but maybe I need to shift. I need to get
A
horses.
golf cart's always necessary, but a horse would be pretty cool.
I need to learn to ride too. All of these organizations, so we have one in St. Johns County, there's one in Clay County. They're all different types as well. So I'm a nonprofit. I'm independent. I get a lot of help from municipalities. So we get space. In fact, we've been in that building 20 years, I think.
That's incredible.
I know, in the annex. So we shift where we're at, but we've been at 205 North 2nd Street for a while. But that's from the city of Palatka. They've given us phone lines. Then when we did get internet too, when that came up.
When you were 28.
Yeah, when I was 28. Yeah, right, and that came into being. So that's provided by the city, and then the county
obviously
helps us.
sees your value.
Yes. Oh, they do. The city is great too. I have to say, whenever I come up, they're ready for me to say whatever it is. They're like, oh, come on, tell me. And we have a lot of people that are working independently within the city. So we do have people like yourself that you're already out there and you're cleaning up and you're active and keeping an eye out and seeing opportunities that we can help with. Because we are a smaller organization staff-wise, we rely heavily on our volunteers and sometimes partners, but sometimes just friends in the community. So, like we had an issue at one of the boat ramps, and I had someone, I'm like, hey, tell me if you see anything. And then someone called in or emailed or sent in a messenger from Facebook, and let me know that there was some issue that was happening. So sometimes it's something small, and sometimes the dumpster's floating away. So,
Oh,
yeah.
you never
Different
know what
things.
you're going to get.
I know it's always it's a new day every day. It's a new day, but it's that really makes us work. So even though we are only our board and one executive director, we really reach out into the community pretty
And you
far.
do a great job of that. You're literally everywhere. I feel like you probably have like a couple like yous somewhere else that we just there. This is Nicole Grace, but there's also Nicole Grace over there and Nicole Grace over there. I mean, you were putting on the miles.
I am. I bought my car that I have now for Keep Putnam Beautiful. Because I needed something that I could travel in that fit my color scheme. Although I'm wearing pink today,
I
usually
love
I'm in
it.
blue. Usually I'm in blue because Keep Putnam Beautiful is blue and white. But my car is white, and I have a hitch on it, and I have a trailer, and I can pull my trailer places, and people are so understanding. We had 3 cleanups in one day up in Flora Home,
Wow,
and
that's a lot of
I
cleanups.
was out of town.
Okay.
Yeah, it all ran perfectly. I was on the phone texting, and Marilyn Piantonata was kind of like my key contact with going back and forth and making sure that, all the groups had access to the trailer. And I went, like right the night before we left, I ran the trailer out there, and Mr. Gill out at the fire station out there took the keys for it. So that was that made me feel so good, because that's really the success, is because it's not me,
Absolutely.
it's the idea and the mission of Keep Putnam Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you are, when I think of Keep Putnam Beautiful, I mean, I definitely think of you. And I understand that you have a team who helps you, but you really have been an advocate for this cause. And again, you're everywhere, but it takes all of us working together. And it's instilling the principles of keeping Putnam beautiful. And to that point, do you have a motto, or is there like a specific mission? Obviously, we talk about recycling, which is a big deal, and that's where you started, or trash pickup.
So yes, we have a mission statement, it's a couple sentences. But what I really like and tell people is that we are clean, green, and beautiful. So we're clean. We do the cleanups. We're looking at litter. We're looking at waste stream management. That side of it. That's also education. Like our children, we talk
Yes.
about what's in your river for Bartram Frolic. What doesn't belong in there, and what do you see in there? Because there's a lot in the river that you don't see, and it's hard to get to. It's really hard to get to. Green, we're talking about our recycling. So it it's work, and I'll have people tell me, well, I'm giving you resources, you actually owe me money. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. It's the highest cost is shipping, transportation,
Yes.
and handling all that. We're not getting money for the raw materials from that, and it's about convenience, because yes, the materials from, for example, our PET1 plastic bottles, we can keep using that, and we do. That's the highest and best of our plastics to recycle, but it's really light. There's a high volume, and so when you're transporting things, think about what you can put in your vehicle. How many
Right.
water bottles can you put in that vehicle, as opposed to melted plastic pellets? It's more efficient and it's more convenient to use the pellets, virgin pellets, instead of recycled. So we got to work this to get that. Recycling.
No, you're good. You're good. You're in it, girl. I like it. I talk with my hands. I'm working really hard to not do that.
So we are out at. I just posted about the River City Players has one of our volunteers, Annie Svetlik, is out there collecting their bottles for recycling, so that we're catching some of that opportunity. We'll be out at Blue Crab with our recycling bins.
Woo-hoo.
Please, please, please don't put hot dogs and stuff in my recycling bins.
I have seen some
Please.
very. This
Crabs.
is Blue Crab Month. Whenever this airs, we are talking about Blue Crab a lot, and
shoot, that's right.
and I remember you bringing over the recycling containers to me, and you can't miss them. They're everywhere. Keep Putnam Beautiful, blue, just like you
Yeah,
said.
it's all blue.
And the stuff that I found in there, I was like, somebody just needed a receptacle, clearly. But what happens when something makes it into, and I know we have one more principle, but I'm really
That's right.
about this right
Yep.
now. What happens when something makes it to Keep Putnam Beautiful for recycling?
So I will say, I Annie, goodness, she actually hand sorts. She hand sorts from those festivals. She will also chastise you if you're there while she's there and you're putting your hot dog into the recycling
I'm
bin.
not going to lie. There's something inside of me, and probably going to regret saying this one day, that kind of feels like that would be very satisfying to, like, I mean, I understand time consuming.
It
Annie,
is.
I have not met you. Maybe I have, but I do not know you, but I appreciate what you're doing. And if you ever
She's
want a
awesome.
partner, I think that, yeah, I could
It's
appreciate the sorting part of that. But
she's pretty awesome.
hand sorting.
Yeah, she goes through. Now, we did so for Beer Fest. We were out there, and oh yeah, you don't want to wait on that out in the. I so I actually rinsed those because that was just so potent, and I had to put it in my car to take it up to
No
waste row.
way.
Yeah, so we rinsed that out.
Ugh.
Yeah, we rinsed it. But once it gets up, so we have curbside recycling here, and I know people are like, oh, but it's not single stream, and I can't put this in it, and I've got to take plastic bags somewhere else. But we have curbside recycling. There are so many counties that do not have curbside
Did not know
recycling.
that.
I was shocked. Places that will have 4 targets in their county and do not
That's
have.
a good comparison to really
Right?
explain it. You got 4 targets,
the
but you don't do
Big
curbside
Mac index.
recycling. Now, we don't recycle. I know that you can't put your plastic bags in there. I know you can't put glass bottles in there.
Right.
And I have tried that. Forgive me, all of the recycling gentlemen. I actually, because I am very passionate about recycling it, and I will dig in the trash can at home to pull something out when the kids throw it, and then I shame them, as they should be shamed. We have a recycling bin right there. We actually have 3 recycling bins and another one at home.
Fantastic.
And then Carol Simpson from the Douglas Law Firm. This gal is committed. So she brought a recycling bin because in the city they don't, like, for businesses they don't recycle. Is that accurate?
So it's a little sensitive. So businesses can absolutely recycle at the workplace. The system we talked about convenience recycling being, convenience is key. Convenience is king, even. But there's a contract. There's a single contract for the county that is for all of us, and we all pay a portion of it in our taxes at some level somewhere, and that is a single contract. If we were to have another business, because our county's a business, so for example, Keep Putnam Beautiful decided I want recycling at my place of business, I would have to do a contract. Okay. So the burden of that contract, it's not split out by a whole bunch of other people.
Okay, so if I'm a business
tricky.
downtown and I want to recycle, I have to take on the burden of that.
Right, and you'd be paying for it, and you'd have to set up, the contract for that. So, what we do have sometimes in some places is where people will collect their personal recycling and then take it home and put
That's
it
what
in
Miss
their.
Carol Simpson does.
So yes,
And I love it.
Yeah, so that's what we can do right now. There are some outlets, business wise, that have different contracts that aren't with our local, like Waste Pro. So like Staples. Staples, you can bring e-recycling to. So that's your cell phones, computers, printers. Yeah, batteries they take, and they just went to not just. They take all kinds of batteries now. That changed within the past 6 months. So, because they were kicking things back and they were calling them contaminants. But for film plastic, because we mentioned, I'll go ahead and start with our curbside recycling takes all rigid plastics, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
That are printed on the bottom. So the little
That's
recycling,
right.
put recycling symbol here. We're going to have one somewhere between us,
Yay.
and that will show the numbers. So
chasing
we're learning
arrows
things
is fine.
together. And so 1 through 7.
I was
correct?
looking for a plastic water bottle, but yeah, so and you don't have one, so good on you too.
I mean,
Nice.
I want to be honest. There is one behind the computer because I had to pick one. I can't sit here, but I'm going to recycle it.
Okay,
That's the
absolutely.
thing. So,
Fantastic.
and how many
But
water bottles you can fit in your car, I could test that.
crush them.
Yeah,
So when
absolutely.
you're putting those rigid plastics in your bin, you can actually compress them and put the tops back on. That's really important.
It's
Is
very therapeutic.
it is. And it fits in my purse when I'm going places and I have
Right.
to put it away because if I have a water bottle out, people are like, "Oh, you have a plastic water bottle. Keep Putnam Beautiful." Yeah, so you talk about throwing shade. But you crush them down, you put the tops back on. Your laundry detergent, put your tops back on. Those tops are recyclable, but you need to put them on because they're little tiny things. They're harder to corral when we're sorting. So if you put the tops back onto the bottle, that works for us.
Wonderful.
But we're looking for the chasing arrow design. It'll be imprinted in the plastic or it will be printed like with ink on the outside of packaging. So that's how you can see where those numbers are. But those all rigid plastic go in the bin. Film plastic with any number, although a lot of times it's 4, the film plastic is nice and soft. So that's your bags coming from the store. That's your saran wrap. Clean. Has to be clean. We
Right.
don't want food on it. If you want to rinse your saran wrap, that's up to you. Also, like at the store, like Lowe's, they have that big saran. I mean, it's not really saran wrap, but it's like
It's
packaging.
saran wrap to me. Yeah.
So that goes in there as well. Even your bags out of your cereal boxes, those can go back, and Walmart takes them.
Publix.
Publix, Winn-Dixie. Yeah, just about everywhere. I think, does Staples have a box in there? I'm trying to
I
remember.
cannot tell you offhand because Publix
I'm gonna
is
make a
the
list.
first thing that goes to my mind.
I'm gonna make
I
a
like
list
it.
and I'm
We'll
gonna put in a
include that
comment.
here.
Yeah.
No pressure, but I won't publish this till I have the list.
Okay, fantastic. So I'll
Will
put
be
that
a ellipsis there,
There you
and
go.
people will try and click on it
Then
and
we
wait for the
click.
list.
So that, I mean, we do have a lot of areas, even some of the rigid styrofoam. The biggest problem we have is contamination. So, pizza boxes.
That was the thing I was thinking of. I almost smacked the microphone.
So, well, pizza boxes, scrape the cheese off. I mean, we're not looking for 100% virgin boxes.
Okay.
We want
That changes the game.
So, but it does have to be clean. It's amazing. We'll go down and talk to John at the sorting facility for Waste Pro, and they will get entire cans. Oh, 10. You can put 10 cans in the bin, but it will be like green beans, number 10 cans, sealed with the green beans in them. That is contaminated, folks, because there's food in it. Just because it's not on the outside doesn't mean that
I
it's
wonder
clean.
if the thought process. I'm just trying to, first of all, education is huge. Yeah, I'm learning a lot now. I will put everything that I know can go in recycling, and I again understand glass bottles can't go in there. I
Wish
apologize
cycle.
to whoever had to write me the note on the side of the box, but my heart was in the right place. But I think, like, you can put compostable things. Let's say you're eating a banana. Not that this is ideal, and toss it out the window. Again, not that it's ideal.
Right.
Wait till you get someplace, but it is compostable, right? So it'll break down. I wonder if the thought was, well, maybe this can break down. I mean, the recycling process itself, I think people have to understand.
And it changes where you're from because we have, and I love Facebook because we get a lot of things out, Instagram, but people are really quick to judge and to correct. So friends that work out of the county, maybe over in St. Johns County, have a different set of rules for their recycling. That doesn't apply here because our contract is different. So
Right.
St. Johns County, I don't know if they're doing it now because I don't keep up with them. I don't care about them. They used to do glass. So people would come over here and put glass. Well, it's recycling. I put glass in my bin. What do you mean? Because it is a different contract and we have different facilities. We can recycle glass though because you can take it either to East Palatka, you can take it out to Huntington Station down in South Putnam, or Interlaken, which oddly enough they have a dump station and it's not on Dump Road, it's on Hickory, which is right next to
So-
Dump Road.
The dump is next to the dump road.
Yeah, but not on it. but not on it. So
Well, that's like Beasley's on Mosley and Mosley's on Hudson. So.
that's too funny. I didn't think about that. That's perfect.
I brought my fact to the table. Thank you.
Fun fact. So yeah, so the facilities are there for glass. I've taken pictures of actually my 17-year-old son throwing glass into it, and sadly, you can see in the picture there's these bags of plastic that are in there, like in bags that are tied up that someone threw in there. So that's the hardest thing that we do is telling people what to recycle and how, and getting people to the landfill because again, convenience is king. But we as a community are really comparatively doing a wonderful job.
That's great to hear.
Especially for being smaller than the size of UCF. I was totally shocked. I'm like, what?
Another Nicole Grace fact.
That is crazy. They're huge. That school just blew up. But we have people that are passionate. We have people that are, my husband, I know, stops and gets other people's glass when he goes out to the landfill. So that's where our recycling starts is with my husband. I was actually not quite to the level he is. He's really, really into that. But the opportunities that we have within the community, it's about education. It's about sharing where you can go and what pieces can go into it. And that's the easiest way to make it convenient as possible is having that knowledge. Because if you don't know, you're just stumbling through it. And,
right.
And it is difficult and frustrating and people will stop. So we just need to keep getting that information out to them. So that's our green portion.
Oh yeah, the last part.
Yeah, so
beautiful. Clean, green, and beautiful. Go ahead.
Yeah, so beautiful. We do beautification projects, and really all of it comes back to, beautification, because if it's clean, I don't know if you've heard this, but if you want to, if you want to renovate your house or if you want to redecorate your house, start by cleaning. So that's the first step for beautification.
Gandhi did not say that.
No, he did not. No, I want to say that was HGTV. But our beautification is going out and planting or doing some refresh on landscaping. And we do have to focus and really for everything is in public areas. So we do right-of-ways on roads. We'll do parks. Like the welcome signs that come in. We really want to do some azaleas. I've got a student group that was interested in that, so we're trying to get that together. We're out in the abandoned cemetery as well. So St. Joseph's Cemetery by Westover and Krill. We're out there, and props for Sheriff's Department. They have their crew that comes out and mows for us over there because it's a couple acres. Yeah,
that's a big plot there.
It is. So, and we have groups that regularly come out, boat ramps. So like the Women's Club adopted the boat ramp at Brown's Landing, and we do be very careful when you're out there. I know because sometimes those ladies don't stop, so they are out in their boots, and there was a stop sign that they pulled out. Before
keeping it clean.
I know, it was crazy. But those are the areas that we address. We cannot go into somebody's home. We've had a lot of requests for that we have to reach out to a church or another organization that can be then go on private property, but that's not what our funds are for. So our funds, like I can go out and talk to the schools, which I regularly do, school groups, volunteer groups, but I can't go in and, for example, take all my pickers and donate it to City of Palatka. They can be loaned out, but, it has to be a public use is what we're looking for. So beautification is that. And, I mentioned the mental health component. There's something... they were like taking pictures of, one area versus another and what's the difference here and why do we like this one better? Why does this make us feel good? Why does this? And of course, sometimes it comes down to money. A lot of times it comes down to money. Why do we want to spend more money here? Why do we go to these, these shopping meccas? And they're finding it's beautification. Even, now I'm a Gator and I have Knights.
There's no judgment.
But Ospreys, UNF, their campus used to be solid brick buildings, grass right up to the side of it. And what they found is that students weren't choosing that school even though, it was affordable, within a drive of their homes, it didn't look good. And so they actually put together, it is now a campus wide botanical garden. And the impetus for them to hire a landscape architect, she's really cool. I think you would really like her. But she does it, the whole campus is her canvas, and she uses it for gardens. So thinking of beautification, what that impacts, and students go out into these gardens, and they have like this bamboo garden where you put your ear up to the bamboo and you can hear the xylem and phloem on the outside, so you can hear the water in the bamboo stems.
How
So
cool.
because bamboo is actually a grass, but
I
here,
did know that fact.
yeah, go Palmer. But here, my daughter, coming from Gainesville, one of the ladies says, "Oh, I know Palatka," and she's like, "You do? Why, what? Do you go to Ravine Gardens? Do you go to see the blue crab? Do you go for azalea?" And she goes to go over the bridge. She drives from Gainesville over the bridge and comes back. And you know what she noticed was the 100 block. And she said that it was, looked really cool, but it was shabby. And then stuff started happening. And now she says it's the landscaping, all the flowers. She drives over and she goes, "It's just beautiful." And she tries to hit it at sunset so she can see the sunset, and then she drives back. But, people do that stuff. It's not just our local people that are looking at it, but people are coming out, and it means, like for UNF, that's money for them. So beautification, yeah, it sounds cute, but it means money. It means, economic development even, and mental health. So we're
Which
hitting
is
a lot of.
so important for community members. Health and wellness. Like you can have all the jobs that you want and you can have, economic health, but if you don't have mental health and people don't feel good about the community that they're in, then, really.
And why do you go to parks to walk in? You choose which park. I know. Yeah, it makes a big difference. So, and we have a lot of benefit here. We're really lucky to have a lot of it's still natural areas. Someone said that we have like, there was a ranking of percentage of outdoor area, and Putnam County has it. And sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that means we've got to drive through 9 Mile, and someone hit an alligator the other night. But wow, are you kidding? We have like crazy wildlife. That's amazing. And we have this beautiful stretch of swamps, enough that someone came and wrote about it, as far as how gorgeous it is. I've been sneaking seeds actually and putting in some of the spider
You
lilies. Oh, I know.
naughty
I
gal
am. I'm like,
here. Sneaking seeds.
trying to get the flowers, but there's some amazing flowers that we have. If you go down to Pico Road, around the outside of it, there's this really wonderful wetland area, and you can see some of that, and that beauty. People go down there for lunch, and they'll just sit there. They'll look at the water, they'll look out into the trees, and if I did a video like to pick up the birds singing, and there's woodpeckers and all sorts of things. Can you imagine? This used to be such a tourist destination as Victorian era, and that's what they were looking for. This was like crazy wilderness, exotic jungle, and it's our backyard. We see it every day.
Exactly.
So we just need to keep it clean.
I love it. A lot of things come to mind with all that you shared. First of all, we are filming on the 100 block right now, and I mean, from my perspective, I know I love it. From my perspective, walking up to work is a different experience. I've worked in the industrial, call center, and everything was clean, so to speak. But that beautification, I mean, it's hard to come into work and be upset with the flowers blooming everywhere. I mean, it is really breathtaking. And kudos to Wayne and Christy and Dylan, who take care of this building and keeping it beautiful outside. And you think about a white piece of paper and the black dot on it, and it's so easy to hone in on that black dot. So it really does stand out. So that piece of trash, The thought I was thinking early on when you were talking about that making such a difference, I don't remember where we were driving, but it was somewhere that very clearly they have a Keep Wherever Beautiful. And all I could recognize, like it was kind of commercially, whatever, but there was no trash anywhere. And that really, like it was remarkable because I had not seen that. You know, you drive down the road and you know, a piece of trash here, a piece of trash there, but there was nothing anywhere. And that was really inspirational for me because it made me want to like keep exploring in that area. And you know, as far as the education piece, instilling that in our youth. Yeah, I had a conversation with my husband some time ago, and we were talking about recycling. And you know, again, I'm your husband in this. I'm like, let's recycle everything. Now that I know I could put the pizza box in there if it's clean, I'm about that life.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how the apathy with other people on recycling. He's like, I mean, really, what's the point? You know, not in a negative way. We were just having dialogue. Like, what is the point if everybody else is going to do the same behavior? And I said, well, I don't disagree with that. And not that he wasn't going to keep recycling, but out of frustration. And I said, well, if we instill in our kids to recycle, and we just keep running at home, and then they go out and have families, and they're the us, and instill in their spouse, and instill in their children, it's exponential.
Absolutely.
And so it starts at home, and kids watch everything you do. If you know, sure, you have a nice clean car, you just got back from the auto spa downtown, and you grab a bag, I don't know, Cheetos is what came to mind when you were talking about mosquitoes. Cheetos, mosquitoes, it rhymes, maybe that's why.
There you go.
I digress. Anyway, you have the bag of Cheetos, and you just want it out of your clean car, and you toss it out, and you have your kid in the back, and you thinking they're not paying attention, maybe they're on their, you know, tablet or sleeping or whatever, but they watch what you do. And so they're going to think, well, that's okay. And so it is up to us as individuals. And, you know, maybe you don't have access to go down and put your bags in Publix, but you can recycle at home. You know, set that aside. And maybe you do have the ability to go take the glass somewhere. Talk to your neighbors. Be a champion for your neighborhood. Walk out your front door and be responsible for your section, but look to your left and look to your right, and you know,
So
pick up along the way.
So what ties into that is our initiative. So we used to do a single day for our countywide cleanup. Our countywide cleanup is now, you know, stretched over the entirety of spring, which ends at either the 21st or 22nd of June.
Whatever you say,
Yeah.
it's going to go with Nicole tax. I believe it.
I'll keep picking up for the rest of the year, but and we did a study with Keep America Beautiful, 152 pieces of litter. So if each person right now picked up 152 pieces of litter, there will be no litter in the United States.
Wow.
So it's an actual tangible
152?
152.
That is super tangible. That's an Ace Hardware bucket. Like,
Yeah.
depending on the size of
Yeah,
the litter,
yeah.
granted, you know, but
Except for the porta potty that was floating. That's a little bigger.
yeah,
That's a little
I
bigger.
mean, that's something.
But that's for the boats to pick up.
Yeah. Your partners. with
Right.
Keep Putnam
I need
Beautiful.
partners to go get those. But we have it's something that is an attainable goal. It's measurable. So 152. But that example that we're talking about, that's that's part of the education as well. So when we're doing recycling and we're throwing something into that recycling bin, when we're picking up trash, sometimes things happen. I know I had a favorite Lilly Pulitzer cup, and I saw one that looked just like it on the side of the road. It was on the side of 19, and and it was right next to a speeding sign. And I thought, who would do that? I mean, because that was a stretch for me to go get that. And they had, I went by it, and I went by a second time. And I'm like, man, this is what the problem is. Well, whenever you point a finger, you do that, point a finger, you've got these three that are pointing right back at you because that was my cup. That was my cup that I put on top of my car, turned the corner, and it rolled off and hit the ground and it smashed. It's not usable.
Oh,
But
disappointing. I was going to ask, was
it
it
was
still in
not
one
usable. But
piece?
I did stop to pick it up because I'm like, you know what? I've got to stop and pick this up because I've complained about it twice now. So I've got to go do this. And it ended up being mine. And I really didn't intend to litter. And but it was also, wow, it was like my great grandmother, chastising me because it was what a lesson
Right.
that's so there's things out there that we need to do, and sometimes it's somebody else and we've got to pick up the slack for them because we don't realize it. They're picking up the slack for us too.
In some other
So
way. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's that whole symbiotic relationship that we have with
So
each other.
how do we help you? If I'm a viewer at home and I'm thinking, okay, I've learned a lot of things I didn't know.
Awesome.
Nicoleisms right now, little fun facts. But maybe you've watched this and just I invite you to think about one of the places that you visit in Putnam County. Maybe it's your childhood home, looking out your front porch, or maybe it's your favorite fishing hole, or maybe it's the ravines, which does a community cleanup day or a cleanup day. Which one year my family won most trash picked up by weight. Just saying,
Fantastic.
but just envision yourself and think about the beauty that you take in that area, and that your mind refreshes, and then just think about somebody dumping trash there, that taints that whole perception. So maybe you're inspired after that vision to do something. How do we help you keep Putnam beautiful? Because this is our home too, and we're all responsible. We can't all be Nicole Grace.
Oh. Uh, Honestly, thinking that's the first step. Starting to look around and notice things that are going on. But we will do cleanups for any organization. It can be your office, it could be just your family, it could be a women's retreat that wants to do a project. We have school groups that come out and we'll do just like a straight up litter cleanup. So I have supplies. I will caution if you're going to go out on your own and clean up, if it's not your trash and you're unsure of it, use something else to pick it up. We loan out our pickers. Just let me know. We have an office downtown.
Safety first.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff out there. Watch for sharp objects. Leave wildlife alone. Don't touch the alligators, guys. Don't touch
Those
the
are
alligators.
not trash.
Yes, that's call FWC for that.
Are you saying, I just want to make sure I
Yeah.
understand, I have a small business, or I have a group, or maybe me and my friends like are all wanting to get together and do a cleanup. Maybe I'll give you an example of what I would love to conquer, and I feel like every time we conquer it, it just gets right back to the same condition. Behind Hitchcock's, there's a little
Ah,
road right along the bike path,
yes.
and it
Yeah.
drives me bananas because I have been out there. I don't know how many times, and I've seen other people. Though they have really kept that same stretch there clean by digging for worms. Another story for another day. But if I am inspired as somebody that wants to do a cleanup. We can partner with Keep Putnam Beautiful.
Absolutely.
I
So
love that.
we can lend out supplies for you, and that'll be gloves, that'll be sunscreen, bug spray, pickers, bags. We can do recycling bags specifically if you're interested in doing that. We have buckets. I think I have safety glasses. Oddly enough, a lot of people in Florida have sunglasses that they use for safety glasses, but I actually have like the clear safety glasses that it was part of a grant. We have it. And I don't throw anything away. So I
It's
just
for that porta potty.
yeah, it's recorded. But we have that. We also, if you are looking at doing, we do the recycling at some of the festivals, and that's through with Annie. I'm always looking for volunteers that are passionate, wanting to help with that. But the awareness is getting out the word on Facebook. If you go ahead and push out posts on Facebook, if you bring attention to an area that looks great, I love pictures of people doing cleanups. So if you're out in front of your house and you're picking up litter off of the road, I have a lady that does that on 19 consistently. I love to see pictures of people cleaning up or
Okay.
doing beautification projects. That's within your community. Pomona Park has a beautification committee right now, and they're doing a fantastic job, Martha Mann. But they call me and they're like, hey, so we're doing a cleanup on this day. Can you bring supplies? And if I am somewhere else, because sometimes, Saturdays are really busy, so we'll have a couple things going on. I may drop off my trailer. I may bring you supplies earlier in the week, but we can still get that done. We also do, the cemetery. What we're doing, we're actually putting flags out on the veterans' graves. So that's a little
amazing.
different. It's kind of because we have adopted that cemetery in a way.
That's a beautiful aspect, though.
It's really quiet, and I notice a lot of people come through and do litter cleanup, and just like you said, it's going to be there again. I know my president is great because he's like, hey, job security.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I would
Bittersweet
be
job
okay with
security.
that. But it is there. And so you don't know it, but there's actually been several people that have gone through and worked on that piece of property. You just weren't there when they were doing it at
Right.
that time. So, and the need is so high that it needs to be done multiple times.
Sure.
So we have adoption areas as well. So specific areas of like trails. So trails are public right of way. So we have people that have adopted sections of trails, and the commitment is 4 times a year to go and clean up that location. So we can do and adopt a spot. So if you are particularly interested in going over to, for example, the dog park, you can go in as long as you're cleaning up 4 times a year. That's,
How fun is that kind of commitment where you get a couple of friends or your family and you as a unit, whatever that looks like, can go adopt a spot or a trail and be
yours.
committed to your community in a way that's meaningful to not only you, but everyone else.
We have boat ramps out in Interlock, and I know I have 2 guys, Doc and Ben, that are out there, and they keep an eye on it. And every time I go out there, I'm like, I got to pick up trash. I had to pick up the trash bag because they pick up litter several times a day because that's their area, and they want to look at that and they want it to be beautiful for themselves.
Right.
And so, we've got a lot of those people that are out there and they've taken that initiative, and anything that we can do to help. I know we've partnered with more recently Girls Who Hike Florida. So they're out on trails, but they started looking along the river. So they're having, they have their own supplies right now. So there's another organization that came in, so they didn't need our supplies, but they're going to be down at Memorial Park.
Okay.
Because it's Memorial Day this weekend. So they're doing, and this is actually the second time Girls Who Hike Florida has done it. So they did the Riverside, which they can't do this weekend because of Blue Crab, but then gone across the river down to Memorial Park, which is that East Palatka side.
Yep.
And cleaned up in there, and they got a ton. Willaca as a town committed to 4 times a year. They are just a little hotbed of activity down there.
Aren't they?
They are. So we went from having these massive piles, and this is what you see, making a difference. Massive piles, the first cleanup, the second cleanup, but then it's like less and less and less because they're continuing. It's a consistency, and they're people not only have they hit the areas and gotten most of that long-term trash, but people are seeing that clean area. I'm sure you've heard of the broken window syndrome, but they see that clean area and they're like, hey, litter doesn't belong there.
Right.
And if you ask those second graders at Bartram Frolic, hey, what do you do if you have trash and there's no trash can? And they hold on to it
Put it in
until
my
they can
pocket.
throw it. They hold on to it
My
until they
son
get to the
is
trash can.
excellent at that with candy wrappers.
But that's really how to, thinking about it and then starting where you are. We talked about looking over your left shoulder, starting right at the spot you're at, and you've improved that spot. And then if you want to look outside of that and do a favorite park, or ask me where there's an area that's in need. We've got some areas that are in need.
Mm-hmm.
And we do, because we're a 501c3, if people are looking for service hours, I know we have court ordered service hours that we do, as well as students that are in school looking for scholarships, or some church organizations, or businesses. Some of the corporations require so many volunteer hours, where they're actually getting paid for their volunteer hours, and then they volunteer for us. So any of those situations, as a 501c3, we're able to do that. So we're really lucky in that way. So we have a lot of opportunity. Start at home too.
152 pieces.
That's right.
That's
right.
wow.
And you picked up 2 today, so you've already started.
I know, right? I again cannot share how inspiring what you do is for this community, and to know that there are so many people that are throughout this community that help collaborate in the efforts, and that we can do something at home. A lot of people, we talk a lot about volunteerism, especially with the, Blue Crab coming around. People spend their time, donate their time to bring something to the community, and bringing beautification, green and clean, it is so important, because it does contribute to your mental health and your mental wellness. And property values go up when things are clean, and so there's just so many benefits. But on behalf of the Bass Capital Radio team and the podcast team, and I'm the team, but still, I'm just kidding. But on behalf of the community, I just wanted to say thank you, and everybody who helps you out with that. I think there are a lot of great ways. So what we'll do for anybody who's watching, who's curious about how they can give back and how they can commit, we'll drop some links below to the Facebook page, any other information that might be beneficial. Maybe we'll throw in some Nicole facts in there, because there were some good ones. But I appreciate all that you do, and thank you for inspiring me and my family and my mom, who's now out picking San Mateo. I dig that. And so just let's keep Putnam Beautiful together. It's a collaborative effort, and until then, we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much. Thanks guys.